Okay, everybody. In the last video, we were going over geologic time, and we had talked about this concept of eons, eras, periods, and epochs, and how an eon represents the largest unit of time in kind of a similar way to a century, and maybe an era would be similar to our idea of a decade, and a period would be maybe like a year, and an epoch maybe something like a month. So it's just a way of breaking down time and working with really large amounts of time, because in Earth history, we're talking about hundreds of millions of years and even billions of years. Another idea from the other video was this idea of the Precambrian time. And Precambrian time represents a huge percentage, roughly 90% of Earth history, and we have no record of life for that time. All life exists in the Phanerozoic eon. And the Phanerozoic eon then gets divided up into three eras. We have the Paleozoic, Meso, and Cenozoic. Paleo means old, so this would be old time. Meso means middle, and the Ceno is the recent era. We live in the Cenozoic era. The Cenozoic era is continuing today as time keeps going by. And then we have our periods. And I mentioned in the last video, everybody knows the Jurassic period. The Mesozoic is defined by the time of the dinosaurs. And here we have this life on Earth column. And if we look at the Mesozoic, we can see dinosaurs. The earliest dinosaurs came into being in the Triassic, and the earliest mammals. So mammals and dinosaurs existed at the same time. Mammals were largely small, rodent-like creatures, though. Jurassic, we have abundant dinosaurs. Earliest birds, and then in the Cretaceous, again, we have dinosaurs. At the end of the Cretaceous, though, is when we have the extinction of the dinosaurs. And again, what really defines the start and end of a time period is some major change in Earth. Maybe the presence of an animal, or its extinction. Changes in the position of the continents, or perhaps a huge volcanic eruption. If we go through it and we take a look at Cambrian life, this is when life really is thought to have begun on Earth, Cambrian time. Some geologists refer to this as the Cambrian explosion. And we had many soft-bodied organisms. I showed you some little plastic examples here. These were all creatures that had soft bodies, no hard parts. They're not good candidates for fossilization. They're very old. And not having hard parts, they're less likely to be fossilized. But there are fossils of these creatures in a place called the Burgess Shale, which is in Canada. And again, soft-bodied organisms, we talked about this a long time ago, can be fossilized if they are buried rapidly in fine sediment. And that's what happened in a place called the Burgess Shale in Canada. And we see these really unusual creatures. Strange worms, and this almost maybe looks something like a fern, but these primitive creatures, these primitive soft-bodied sponges and such. Okay, then we go along, we have Ordovician times, and we have our first coral reefs, and then Silurian, we have our Eurypterids, the New York State fossil. Then we get to the Devonian time. Devonian is what most New York State fossils what time most of our fossils formed. So we don't have an abundance of dinosaur fossils in New York, but we do have a lot of Devonian fossils, which means earliest ammonites, sharks, abundant fish, marine organisms. So we do have a lot of fossil evidence from the Devonian period in New York, a lot of marine creatures. We have a lot of fossil coral, we have fossil fish, we have fossil marine creatures from Devonian time. Then we get to Carboniferous. Carbon means, well, carbon plant material is basically what we're talking about. This is when we had our large coal-forming forests. We talked about the formation of coal earlier in the year. Warm, tropical, swampy locations. We can find a lot of these coal deposits in places like Virginia, Pennsylvania, because even though they're not tropical now, they once were during the Carboniferous time. Then we get to Permian. abundant reptiles. Then Triassic, now we get to dinosaurs. We have a large mass extinction going from the Permian to the Triassic. It's thought perhaps 90% of life on Earth went extinct during this time. There's various theories as to why that might have happened. It could have been due to huge volcanic eruptions that went for long periods of time. And you might be asking, well, how could a volcano cause a mass extinction? But if there's enough volcanism, so much volcanic ash goes into the atmosphere, it'll actually darken the sky, and the Earth gets dark and cold, ice covered. It's also possible that volcanoes release so much carbon dioxide that when the air finally clears and that volcanic ash settles, we have a runaway greenhouse effect too. That's still somewhat unclear. But we are certain that there was a large mass extinction from the Permian to the Triassic. Everybody knows about the extinction event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Fewer people know about this Permian Triassic extinction, probably much more deadly to life on Earth than the mass extinction that wiped out the dinosaurs. Then we get into the age of the dinosaurs. We have our early dinosaurs in the Triassic, going to Jurassic, abundant dinosaurs, Cretaceous. We have birds, flowering plants, and so on. And then at the end of the Cretaceous, Paleogene, we have another mass extinction. This is the one that probably caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. Most scientists believe that this was due to a large meteor impact off the coast of Mexico. And again, large meteor impacts, similar to large volcanic eruptions, put out a tremendous amount of ash and debris in the sky, can block the sun for even a couple of years. Photosynthesis breaks down, world gets cold and dark. Then we get into the Cenozoic. With the extinction of the dinosaurs, now mammals have a chance to flourish. They're not being preyed upon by the dinosaurs anymore. During Mesozoic time, mammals were largely small and rodent-like. But by the time we get to the Cenozoic, now that they're not being preyed upon by the dinosaur, mammals have an opportunity to flourish and get larger. And we can see that humans have existed for almost 2 million years, 1.8 million years. Most of this time, though, humans were very primitive, of course. Human civilization only goes back about 10,000 years. By human civilization, I mean writing and recording history, society, cities, ancient Rome, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and so on. Humans certainly coexisted with mastodons and mammoths, and it's quite possible that we are, at least in part, the reason why mastodons and mammoths are now extinct. Humans certainly hunted them, and perhaps we even hunted them to extinction. That's one possibility anyway. But we certainly coexisted with mastodons and mammoths. Definitely not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs went extinct close to 65 million years ago. Now, other information on this chart that I just want to show you. Down here on the bottom, we have various fossils, all with a letter code. Here we have the only dinosaur that's been found in New York State, and we've only ever found its tracks, not its actual bones, but Coelophysis, very common dinosaur. Bipedal, stood on 2 legs, predator. There's our Eurypterid New York State fossil. And if we flip to page 9 now, we have more fossils down here, all with letter codes. These letters correspond with these bars, and these bars show when the animal or organism lived. Here we can see the dinosaurs, lettered L, and, they existed during Mesozoic time. Again, page 8 and 9 are together, so if you were asked to figure out what age a certain creature lived, you would find the letter and then go to page 8 and see where it matches up with the geologic timescale. This also shows important geologic events in New York State, when various mountains formed. Our mountains are now gently rolling hills, but what a lot of people don't realize is that they used to be some of the tallest mountains in the world. But over the course of millions of years, weathering and erosion have worn them down to the smooth, rounded hills that we have today. And lastly, on page 9, we have these maps of the world showing where the continents were, and specifically North America, and how it's changed position at different times. If we go to the age of the dinosaurs, There's dinosaurs here. We could see that much of the landmass for the world was closer to the equator. The dinosaurs enjoyed a warmer climate than we have here now. So anyway, that's how to use page 8 and 9 in the reference table and geologic time. We'll do more with geologic time in a couple more videos. And later in the week, we'll do an activity on geologic time. So that's all for now.